Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank Chairman Cole and Ranking Member DeLauro for being here today, for moving this minibus package. Is a real step away from, as we've said before, from years of Washington dysfunction and passing these bills, especially with what I believe is responsible governing and return to some fiscal sanity. The minibus does include 4 bills: defense, homeland security, labor, HHS, education, and transportation, housing, and urban development. And together they focus federal funding on priorities that matter for our communities, strengthening military readiness, supporting our service members, reinforcing border security, and combating the spread of fentanyl. We're investing in rural health and workforce training for working families and improving transportation safety while ensuring our tax dollars are spent responsibly. I also want to highlight that this package delivers tangible results for my district back home. I was proud to secure $7 million in community project funding in this package for Indiana's 9th District, targeting investments in things that taxpayers will need and use, like street safety improvements and upgrades. While it is a strong win for the district, I'll admit it still comes in a very close second place to our Indiana University Hoosiers bringing home the National Football Championship this past weekend. Chairman Cole, this bill provides $418 million for rural health, including increased funding for rural hospitals and expanded rural residency opportunities. Can you talk about how this investment will help keep rural hospitals open and strengthen our access to care?
Well, I certainly will a little bit. I have a very rural district myself, and anybody that represents areas like that, Democrat, Republican alike, know how difficult it is to maintain infrastructure. Distance does make a difference in terms of how quickly care can be delivered, and the fewer access points into the health system there are, the more challenge there is. So this is an effort to, again, try and upgrade infrastructure and, frankly, create incentives for people that are to come back, doctors, nurses, the kind of personnel infrastructure you need, in addition to, just the physicality of buildings and equipment. So, again, it's something that I think important investment and one that's worth making, and so that's basically it.
Thank you. And Chairman Cole, one thing I appreciate is that this bill doesn't just spend money, it demands efficiency in the programs. And on the defense bill, it cuts over $1.2 billion through streamlining and management improvements, and cuts another $550 million reflecting favorable bulk fuel rates. Can you explain how these savings were achieved without sacrificing our readiness or warfighting capacity?
You know, a lot of that is, again, as I mentioned earlier, is based on the good work of the House Armed Services Committee. We appropriate based on a lot, and they are a singular committee in that they always give us an authorization bill. Everything within their purview is authorized, has been for 60-odd years. Didn't matter if Democrats were running the place or Republicans were running the place. That committee does its work. I've got other committees where as much as 90% of the money is unauthorized. I mean, we're going to appropriate it, and I'll give you an example. You don't appropriate for the State Department, and I want to particularly single out for praise Chairman Mast, who's beginning the process of reauthorization there. But every embassy would shut down. There wouldn't be any visas, there wouldn't be any passports. So we can't, just because an authorizing committee doesn't reauthorize the State Department, we can't quit funding it. But we have that in every other committee. Defense, again, doesn't matter if a Democrat's chairing, there's a culture in that committee that they're going to get an NDAA done. And so, again, while we do, I think, exceptional work, I mean, two of our very best members, Chairman Calvert and Ranking Member McCullum, who work together on other committees as well, both terrific members. And they're always at the cutting edge. They know their subject matter. So I have no doubt they played their role in that too. But again, this is an example of a good relationship between an authorizing committee and the appropriate subcommittee of appropriations that work hand in glove.
Well, thank you. Really appreciate all the hard work, both sides that went into this Yes, to the ranking member.
I just want to say a thank you to you for talking about the $7 million in the district. I think one of the great successes of the appropriations bills and those that have community projects are so reflective of the, you know your district and the folks in here, you know it best. And I think when I, listen to what you said, I was, just before we came back down here, I was in West Haven, Connecticut with the firefighters. Small, $348,000 for equipment and apparatus. Well, my God, you had every fire chief in the area, all the fire, and saying thank you, because that it saves their lives and so forth. And I think this is on both sides of the aisle, the recognition that these are beneficial. And we've tried very, very carefully to make sure what has happened in the past does not happen in the present or in the future by building the bridges to nowhere. So I really do thank you for that. And my last comment has to do with, there was a real understanding that there were specific issues related to Homeland Security, where the developments in the last several weeks have really, jarred all sides in a very fundamental way. And it was one of the reasons why, and with the chair and myself and the Senate, well, not the Senate, this is the House, where we made the determination that what members had to do was to very carefully look at the bill, look at where there were gains made, look at where there were none, whether there were some, and so forth, and make the decision to move forward, and which is one of the reasons why the bills are. The bill is separate, because of the complexity of it, because of the environment in which it was being done. And I think there was a sensitivity to all of that, and that I think is important as to how we do try to move forward. So
Thank you. I'll say, we say this a lot around the House of Representatives, there is no perfect bill. And if you can get 80% of what you want, that's a pretty good day around here. If you can get some of what you want, that's an okay day. But you're never probably in this business going to get 100% your way. We've picked the wrong job if that's the case. In closing, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the ranking member. In closing, I just have to say, Gloriana, Frangipana, hail to Old IU.
I don't know, I might have to gavel you down, Ms. Houchin. But that concludes our,
Madam Chair, I'd like you to ask unanimous consent to enter something into record.
so ordered.
I'd like to enter into the Oglala Sioux Tribe, the Office of the President, and a memorandum submitted to Secretary Burgum, Nome, and other members regarding the illegal detention of Oglala Sioux Lakota tribal members by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. I spoke to the president the day after, and they still had not been able to get their tribal members released. They had one out of the four had been released by the time I was able to speak to him. He described 9 different tribes who were gathered in Minnesota dealing with getting their protections for their tribal members. So I'd like to enter that into the record, Madam Chair.
Unanimous consent. That is it. So thank you both for being here. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Madam Ranking Member. And we will bring up our first witness panel. Mr. Hoyer, Mr. Veazey, Mr. Gomez, Mr. Horsford, Ms. Tenney, and Mr. Keating. Mr. Keating. I'm sorry, my voice is starting to go. Who are we?
We're waiting on Mr. Horsford.